What I like to do whenever I roll with people I don't know, it's very different than if I roll with my friends at home, who I trained with for many years. We will absolutely try to rip each other's heads off, and it's totally fine. And we all feel comfortable with it, and nobody gets injured, and we kind of know each other's game, and that's fine. But whenever I roll with someone I don't know, or I'm at camp and I just need to preserve my energy, I have a very, very different style. And as I've talked about if you watch some of my videos and stuff, for me, jiu-jitsu has been almost everything. Like I started as a very young, I was like 17, and I just wanted to learn how to fight. Because I thought, this is something you need to know in life. You need to know how to fight, hunt animals, and like fight with, or something like this. Then I realized I'm probably never going to fight anyone unless I'm like really stupid and really looking for it. And it also was not, I felt it was not very healthy to think about street fighting all the time. Like, especially when it's not like, I mean, living in Denmark, you're not going to ever get in a fight, right? It's not very healthy to always like think about fighting someone on the street, like, oh, this guy, oh, there's a chair there, maybe there's some salt here I can have ready, just in case, And then like after years pass by, you're like, oh fuck, I'm never going to really, I mean, this is stupid, If nothing else, you're attracted more, I think, by consuming your mind with this stuff. I have statistic data to back it up because I have been drunk and stupid in almost every corner of the world, including all the most dangerous ones I could find, and I've never ever been in any kind of trouble. But this is not a self-defense, avoid fighting thing. But that was the beginning. Then I realized, oh, but I'm still young and I want to get this out of my system. So that's where MMA comes into the game. And I guess you can actually fight someone, and we all agree on it, and it's kind of good and it's safe. So then I did MMA for many years, and then at some point, like the classic, you get kind of tired of getting punched in the face every single day by people who are younger and stronger and wanted more. And you're like, oh, fuck this, jiu-jitsu is so much more fun. I can still kind of have a fight and not get punched in the face. And I can keep doing this for many, many years and still find it fun. Right? So then it was jiu-jitsu sport, and like we're almost full circle. And now I'm at a point where like I just don't really have time or opportunity in my life to compete. I do it when I can, but it's very rare because I also live kind of isolated. So at this point, jiu-jitsu is more like a thing that just keeps me healthy. It's like fitness. I think I've never found any other activity that can keep me interested for long enough. I think so. So jiu-jitsu is just for fitness, for being healthy and keeping strong and stuff. And I would say that at this point, it's more like I approach it more like I'm kind of back to the beginning, where it's a gentle art. Jiu-jitsu means a gentle art. And it's a little bit like trying to create art out of wrestling in a way. Right? And the art is to be as gentle as possible and still win. Right? I can go super, super hard and probably win most of the times because I did this for a while. And some people will still kick my ass, absolutely, like I never trained before. Or I can try to turn it down as much as possible and find the exact point where I can still win, but spend as little energy as possible. And I find that to be the most interesting, like, artistic aspect of jiu-jitsu for me. This means that I can walk into a gym where I know nobody, and I can have some really, really good technical rolls with everyone, and nobody thinks I'm an idiot. And they probably invite me out for beers afterwards, right? Or I can go to a camp and I can roll every single day and do like 50, sometimes 100 rounds in a camp and still not break down. I'm not 21 anymore, so I don't have like unlimited energy to just roll and roll and roll. So I need this style also to handle. It's like 1,500 people in a year who wants to roll with me, and if I go hard on like one of them, I lose five more rounds with other people. Anyway, long fucking talk. So let's get to it. So here's one of the things that I do when I roll at the camp, for instance. I like to just stand in people's guard, and my jiu-jitsu is very much project-based. I will have a project, and I will do that for at least a year. And it's usually like one technique, one position, one thing that I try to do. I have it on my list. Once I feel comfortable, I strike it out, and I go. This has unfortunately been on my list since 2011. So I've been diving way too deep into this rabbit hole. But it's kind of still interesting. Yeah? And I like to approach every training partner as it's almost like surfing. I know it's kind of like the typical analogy. But every training partner is like a wave. Some of them will absolutely smash you, so you think you're going to die. Some of them you can just barely like survive for a second. And some of them are like, oh, maybe you don't have to do anything and you can try to do a cool trick or something. Or like snowboarding. You don't always just want to try to go as fast as possible from top to bottom. Sometimes you just want to go in the park and try to do a little jump or something, right? It's kind of the same here. Sometimes I fight to survive. Sometimes I just try to do something cool, right? So it's the artistic aspect. And every time you catch that wave or you hold your balance in that sweep, it's like that was pretty cool feeling, right? So, project 8 years now. Stand in people's guard and not get swept or submitted. This is the foundation for passing. If you get swept or submitted, forget about passing, right? It doesn't matter. It's like you're really good at the rear naked choke, but you can never get the back, right? This doesn't really work. So this is a simple part. I started this when I traveled around the world. I said, okay, I'm not really going to try to win. I'm just going to try to be in people's guards and not be swept or submitted. Right? So I did that in every gym, and then I kept doing that at every single camp, and I'm still here. And it kind of never gets boring for me. I don't know why. So I just stand in anyone's guard, and the first thing I do is I don't really just start passing. Right? Never. I always let him play his game, and then I try to survive. And this is the hypnosis part. I'll get to it, right? Okay. To survive in the guard, I really just have to do two basic things. For him to sweep or submit me, he needs to do at least one of two things, right? The main thing is he needs to force me to put my head underneath my butt. Right? This is something I always say, and if you've seen any of my classes, this is like my #1 class, and this is what I teach everyone. The #1 most important thing in jiu-jitsu is that your head never gets lower than your butt. If you can do that, it's not like you're invincible, but this is going to get you such a long way. If you look at beginner's competition, you will see this so clearly. 9 out of 10 at least takedowns, sweeps, submissions, fucking armbars, triangles, omoplatas, ski chokes, everything is because they either make the mistake of dropping the head and lifting it apart, or the person forces them to do it, right? And it's so clear for beginners because the movements are rough, and at a higher level you see the exact same thing, it's just in a split second, right? And the setups are more complicated. So for me to survive sweeps and submissions, one, I just always need to keep my head on my back. To be strong to do that, I need to keep like a good, strong upper body posture. I can't really do this, right? So I always do this, like strong. The other thing is, like I talked about yesterday, for him to sweep me, I have these 3 points, my 2 posts and my hip. Straight line, I'm fine. If they start to look like a triangle, I'm done, right? I end up sitting down. And now it doesn't even matter if my head is over my hip, he just stands up and it's a sweep, right? So I need him to not control all 3 at the same time, right? My 2 posts and my hip, and that's pretty much it. Very often, it's just my back leg and my hip that I kind of think about. But in reality, the #1 thing I do is I just don't let my head drop underneath my butt, right? And easier said than done. So we're just going to try to demo it a little bit. And I didn't train for 2.5 months, so my cardio is like pretty shit. But anyway, Chris is just going to try to attack something. Now look what I did. Okay, so we're in some shit here. Go. Be creative. Okay, so someone with that different game. Someone with the different games. Did you see different attacks? Not that it was bad. It was really good. I just want to see. Is it the same? Do something else. I'll try to sit lower. Go. Now look at what I do. It's no triangle because my head is up. Go. Don't get all 3 points. Get a bit of trouble, go. Bit of trouble. Just don't let my head drop. Go. This one is dangerous, isn't it? All right, let's try something else.
No. You're long.
I know, sorry. Okay, thank you. So, of course there's an aspect of I just practiced this for a long time, but there's really no like black belt magic, right? Can you all see what I'm doing? I'm doing one thing, keep my head over my butt. Sometimes you have to like lift your head up high. Sometimes you have to drop your hip. Sometimes you have to post your hand. Right? Sometimes you have to shoot your hip under and sit down. Right? But you kind of figure that out. So what I like is that I actually don't know exactly what technique they're doing. Right? I don't know. Right? I don't really like study all aspects of jiu-jitsu. So I couldn't teach what they just try to do to me because I have no idea. Right? But what I can do is instead of trying to figure out what they do, I just constantly look at my own body position. If I can fix myself doing what I know they're trying to break, then I can survive, right? And this was, of course, kind of low intensity, but all I did, the only thing in my mind was make sure my head is up and my body's down. It's not like a win-all, you're never gonna get swept or submitted again, but if this is foundation, you have a really strong position top guard, right? So, what we do is you grab a partner, you just do this. Bottom person, try a little bit. It's not a competition right now, right? So just try a little bit to sweep and submit, and top person try to just keep head over butt, and also try to keep that back leg clear, or at least the hip if you can. But the main thing is head over butt. So just think about your own body position. Don't worry about what they actually do, right? And the most important thing is when it fails, because you will get swept or submitted, eventually you can go back and see why it happened, right? Oh, because he held this, so I couldn't. My head dropped, and as soon as your head drops or your butt goes up, you're done, right? Let's try this first. Go. Okay, so does it kind of make sense so far? Did anyone keep head over butt and fail to control all three and still get swept? I've never seen it actually happen. I'm sure maybe, there's like a few random weird techniques that Alex comes up with where he just sweeps someone without touching them or throwing something. I don't know. But I say almost every single sweep and submission you will ever see. And I've been thinking about this for many years. So whenever I watch people teach something, or I teach something, or I watch people roll or compete, you can always look for this, right? Sometimes it's like a crazy scramble of something happening. You have no idea what's happening. But in reality, the main thing that's being fought for in the guard is the head and the butt, right? If the head is underneath the butt, you're done, right? The sweep or the submission is right there. So if you can start by fixing that, you've come a really, really long way. Doesn't make you invincible, but I think that's the number one thing you need to worry about when you're in the guard, right? It's not really rocket science, it's kind of simple. So there's just a few things, a few tools you need for this. Is that I still see a few people be like this, right? If you're here, you're gonna die, Unless if he sucks, you're fine. But if he's got a really good triangle or omoplata, armbar, or anything, this is like perfect for him, right? So I always want to try to be here, right? So if I'm, okay, let's do an example. Close guard, it's very easy to see it in close guard. Head over hip, right? Take a triangle. Yeah, take an omoplata. Right, like a cross-collar choke. What else have we got? Armbar? Take it. Right. It's the same here. Triangle. Omoplata. Yeah, choke. Armbar. Right? Now, same thing. Triangle. Yes, please. Armbar. Yes, please. Omoplata. Yes, please. Armbar. Yes, triangle. Yes. Some kind of wild sweep. Whee! Yeah. Same sweep. Alright? It's really not very complicated, you know? And sometimes you're in competition, you're like, damn, he had such a good armbar or something, he caught me, or I was in a triangle. No, you just drop your head. Either you did it yourself, which you will see in beginners competition. You can see like stuff like this, you know? And so like, oh, damn it, I got caught in a triangle, right? That's not because he has a good triangle, it's because you have a shitty posture, right? Or notice that every single setup he's got for a sweep or a submission, he must break my posture to be successful, right? Do something. Yep. Do something else you like. Right? And what else do you like to do? Whoop, look at that. Oh, head down, butt up, right? And then I fall. So if he's trying to do like the same sweep, go. If my head doesn't drop, I'm not going to get swept, right? So, and this is something I can't like teach you in a class. I can tell you, and then I can remind you the next 500 times you do it wrong, right? That is the process of learning jiu-jitsu. And I just see this mistake as being so general that it's something you can just point out again and again. When you know it, then you go compete. You lose. And almost every single time you will see, oh, in the beginning maybe you're like doing this, right? Try to choke people like this, you're like, oh, that's the mistake. But as you get better, you see like just a split second where you try to pass the guard and you drop your head and you get swept or caught in something, right? But it's always the fucking same thing, right? So the job of the coach is to remind people all the time, hey, look, you made the mistake again. Fix it next time, right? And then from day one, my job is to make sure that you keep this in mind as much as possible. So a few tools for this will be sometimes, whenever I'm in the guard, I'm always looking at my own body position, right? Not what he's doing. I don't care because I can't figure it out. Jiu-jitsu is so complicated, I don't have time to understand everything he's learned in the last how many years he trained. Impossible. I trained for 20 years. I have no idea what the fuck he's doing, right? Because jiu-jitsu is constantly evolving. So I look at my own body position. Should I fix it or not? So we get into something. Do something. Right? No, stop. This is clever. See that? See what he's doing? This is a great setup because it keeps my hip high and my head low. So I'm always evaluating my own body, right? And this is bad. I have to fix it. So basically there's like a few things I can do. One, I can try to lift my upper body. Now I'm safe. I look at my body, it's fine. Or I could try to drop my hip, right? And I could do that. Now I'm safe again. Even though I don't know his technique, right? The problem is he's pretty clever. He did this, right? So I have to kind of figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I'm gonna have to fight for the scramble, right? So when I see him do something, let's say he grabs this, I recognize this as a danger. Why? Because if he pulls my head down, I lose some posture, right? So immediately I do that. I'll pull it. See? I give him some resistance there, right? If he starts to put the foot there, I don't let that happen because that means I can't move my hip up and down anymore, right? Even if he's grabbing, like try to grab the same side, like this, see, if he pulls my head down now, I know this is bad. I'm not sure what technique he's going for, but I know it's bad. So I build a frame, see? So he's trying to pull it now and it's stuck on him, like that. Sometimes you can even grab like his own here and just build a frame with your arm. Doesn't mean I'm never gonna get swept or submitted, but it's gonna make things more difficult for him. And I can already see where this shit is going, right? Can you see that? Right. So what do I need to do? My head and my butt is almost at the same level. Like that, right? Now if he goes for the same thing, I'm fairly safe, right? So sometimes you need to build frames. Sometimes you need to lift. If he grabs here, this is bad, right? You can pull my head down. So I need to either do that or do that. See? Now he has to break this arm to pull me. Pull. That's it. Good, right? Or I have to sit low. So he holds something in my upper body. I just have to squat. Squat, squat, squat. I can break it, maybe not. Maybe I just do this. So now if he tries to pull, stuck. See that? And very often you start to lose balance. Like, do some kind of sweep to the side. Whoa, that's it, right? And this is bad for me because my only way back right now would be to post a hand. See, very often I have to post a hand on the mat to keep my head up. If my hand is in here, I'm done. I know I'm done. Now I'm already in attack mode, right, to get back. So very often I start to lose, maybe do like the X-Guard stuff you were doing. Yeah, look at that. Now I start to lose balance. Look. See what I'm doing? I just barely keep my head up. If I did not post that hand, he's gonna get the sweep. Right, let's say I do that. Whoa, shit. Now I'm going, so maybe I'm here, like this, right? So these are like the main things. Lift your head, build a structure so you can't pull it, drop your butt, or post your hands. Those are like the main things I do all the time, right? So let's try to experiment a little bit more. I promise we get to the passing part. Right? We've got to build the foundation first. All right, go. All right, so this is still kind of makes sense, right? You see the difference, keep your head over your butt, and it's not like it's a magic pill, but it's gonna make everything more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult for the person on bottom, right? And this is not so much about how well it works at this point. The most important thing I feel is that when it fails, when you get swept or submitted, you can see why. And you can understand what went wrong. You can see, oh, he somehow lifted my hip or dropped my head, right? Or controlled all 3 points and he could put my hip on the mat, right? But the main thing is that you can see where it fails, and it's almost always when your head goes down or your butt goes up, right? And then you know what to go home and fix, right? Because you can be caught in the same thing a million times and you have no idea what happened, right, mechanically. Because you try to understand the technique and all the details they're doing, which is impossible unless they teach a class and explain all of it to you, right? You cannot do that, but you can see what they did with the tools they have. Okay, so enough about that. See, I sneaked in some conceptual stuff anyway. Now, so this is what I'll do every single role I've done for the last 50 camps, and every time I visit someone new, I go in and I stand or sit in someone's guard, and I just try to avoid getting swept or submitted. Some people will absolutely rape me with their guard, which is perfect, because then I see what they did something that dropped my head down or lifted my butt, right? They have some kind of tricky way of making me make that mistake, right? Now, the next thing is I kind of have to play, for me, to get the guard pass here, I like to play a little bit of a mind game. That's why I say it's like passing by hypnosis, kind of, right? I don't really hypnotize him, but in a way I do. Because I have these options. I can go in and stand there and defend myself in the guard, and then I can say, okay, now I'm gonna pass and start to turn it up. But whenever I kind of turn up the intensity, then it becomes a different game, you know? Then it's like a head-on-head. Which is great and it's important and you have to practice that all the time. But this is not what I like to do at the camps. I like to do the perfect trick on the wave, right? Or the perfect jump on my snowboard or something. I don't know what you guys do. Create a little bit of art, right? If I can pass at the perfect time with very little effort, it's the gentle art, right? Plus you pass the guard, which is pretty nice. Huh? So I walk in, and the main thing is that I want to create a situation for him where he, one, relaxes, and two, gets frustrated, right? I have to get in his mind, right? You're laughing because you were there yesterday. If I go in like this, okay, Chris, you want to roll? Say, let's go. And I start going, you know? He's not going to relax. He's going to do this. Shit, the pass is coming any second, you know? That's what it's going to be in his head. So, but if I start like this, you know, with a smile, like this, you know? Little bit of this, right? I create a situation where he's not like ready to go at any second, right? So that's really what I want to create. So that's the first thing. I relax, and then I just play this game. And this is just practice for me to not get swept or submitted. I will stand there for a couple of minutes, usually 3, 4, 5 minutes, depending on how long the round is, and just not let him sweep or submit me. Right? I'm fairly confident in this because this is the only thing I practiced for 8 years now. Just try not to get swept or submitted. Happens, of course, all the time, but fairly confident I could just survive. If not, then I learned another way for him to break my position, right? So I will just stand here and he will play his best game. I invite him, go, play your A game. And you know what to do to not get swept. I know exactly what I need to do. Head over hip. Oh, that put behind you, head over hip. All right. Head over hip. And sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy, right? This is a bit of a challenge. Anyway, in the beginning of the round, he's fairly confident. He's like, okay, he's letting me play my game. I'm going to go A game, right? So he's fairly confident. And then after a few minutes, he's like, damn, he's not even passing. And nothing is working. That's a thought I planned in his mind, right? Because as long as he plays his A game, it'll be difficult for me to pass, right? But at some point, I can see the frustration, right? He starts out like this. Okay, A, B, C. I go, 1, 2, 3. And then I defend it really well, usually. And at some point he starts to take breaks from his favorite attacks. And he stops to think a little bit. I can see it. And when he stops to think, then he goes down the list. Shit, nothing works, right? And he gets frustrated and he loses his confidence in his best game, right? And then he starts to go down the list and try maybe something he hasn't tried in a while, because he needs to do something else to sweep or submit. And I know mechanically what I need to do to defend it, right? And once he kind of loses confidence, that's when I usually can find the opening and pass super easy. But if I tried the exact same pass from the first moment we roll, I cannot, because he's too confident, right? And then I would have to go like super full power. So the tactic is, the hypnosis is this. I start the round and I make him relax, and then I just let him play, right, for a few minutes, and then I find the pass. Okay, and the way I find the pass, I'm going to show you that next. So let's just, I don't know how to practice this, remember. Just try a little bit more. Start the round, go super relaxed. Don't worry about passing or anything, just survive a little bit. And once they get frustrated, then we set up the situation for the pass. Okay, let's try. Go. So, relax, take your time, let him play his game, right? This is also a very important aspect of learning how to defend, is that you always let the opponent in training play his best game. Because if I could just like smash and hold him and start passing, then I would never have the chance to like for him to get me out into deep water, right? And I would never get confident in that kind of game he's playing. For if you ever fight in competition or you fight for your life, which probably shouldn't happen, then you will go 100% to shut down everything he's trying to do. But in training, you really want to put yourself in bad positions all the time. So that's why I like to just kind of, this is just a wave coming. Maybe I can ride it, maybe not. Maybe I just need to hold my breath for the next 10 minutes. And maybe it's super easy and there's nothing, right? But I'm going to try to play on it. Now, once I reach that level of a little bit of frustration, and he gets to a point where you kind of feel he starts to take some breaks and like think a little bit, and maybe he tries something different. You can tell he's not very confident in it. That's my time to go, right? It's not from the first 10 seconds of the round. I cannot pass there because it would take way too much energy, right? So when I feel this frustration, this is when I start to set up things, right? And all I do is first I create a situation where he's really relaxed, right? If I defend, and I say, okay, now I'm going to pass, and then I start to do this, he's going to start to tense up, and I lose the opportunity, right? It's also not very artsy, to just kind of smash. Smashing can be an art, don't get me wrong, but still. So I just relax, and I create a situation where he's relaxed, right? So I step out, maybe, walk around a little bit. I do this a little bit, maybe touch his head, pretend like I'm doing something really silly. Like look for his fingers, like this, He's like, there's no risk, right? And I keep a distance. For the first few passes, I keep a distance where he feels it's low risk. The moment I step in here and we have some kind of contact and he sets up some grips, now he's more tense if something happening, right? So the first easy passes that I really like to do, and we got 15 minutes, is just from the outside, right? Where now he's thinking there's really no risk in this situation. So all I have to do is I start with I just want this grip. That's pretty much it, right? His collar. And again, there's a huge difference between like judo style, taking the grip like that, or just kind of like this, yeah? Huge difference. I just kind of let him play. I invite him to play. Yeah? Sometimes I just give him one hand like this. So he's like, okay, we're just playing. Nice. That's cool. But he doesn't know the next split second is the pass. Right? So the first pass is like this. Outside, get the grip. Right? Now I kind of have to go. Because if he moves his body in, goes on his back, and sets any hooks, now it's too late for this one pass. Right? So I just get this grip. Like this, stay on the outside. If I feel like he's really relaxed about what's going on, I might also take the pants. But sometimes he's too suspicious kind of guy. You know? If I feel he does this and now he starts to tense up, I'm not going to take the pants yet. But the easiest pass is by definitely if I have these two, right? Like this. So you can kind of feel it, how spazzy he is. You know? If I can play with this, and sometimes we're like, and you're like, you know? If he lets me play here, maybe I can go. Right? If I do this, then I'm never going to get it. Right? 1, 2. Right? I'm going to show you the version after without this. And now I go from super relaxed, and my first motion must be 100%. I have to go from 0 to 100. If I go here and I do something first, and then I start passing, it's too late. Yeah? So I have to go super relaxed, and the idea is that we go here, and then I take a jump. And he needs to catch up, right? Whoever is one step ahead of the game is winning in jiu-jitsu. It's really like chess. Like you can do the exact same techniques, but if you're one step ahead or one step behind of the game, that makes a whole difference about who's dominating, right? So I create a situation where I get one step ahead. So I'm just here, relaxed. I hold this, right? And you'll be surprised how often you can get this. Sometimes, or maybe half the times, he starts to do something, moves in, and it's like, okay, I didn't get it. Now I'm not going to try. Right? It's a trap. He falls in the trap or not. I don't know. I can't force him. So I'm here, and now I'm going to pass this way. But to do that, I just need like a kind of a shock reaction. Because until now, he was very relaxed, okay? And then all I do is this. Just kind of stomp on this side. Yeah? And now you have to simulate. This guy has to simulate now. Because this only works if he gets confused. All right? So what usually happens when I stomp is that he moves that way. Right? So my motion is going to be this, look. Stomp, now that foot is going to push me the other way. And I'm right here. And I get that pass. Right? And it's probably maybe the highest percentage pass I do. If I can create that situation where he relaxes, yeah? So, here, okay. This, sometimes it's a little bit of like a, you know how black belts start the match often? It's almost like a little theater. You know, they're like that, right? Like, you know, if they do, it's completely useless. But it's always like, look at me, how relaxed I am about this, you know? It's kind of the same thing. You know, I'm here, I grab this, and now I have to go, yeah? So it's stomp, and very often he will actually rotate, like that. Just follow it, like that, yeah? And now that stomping foot is gonna push me the other way, and he drops on his back, but it's too late because the knee comes in. Sorry. And I can get the pass. So the motion is here. Stomp, and knee on belly. Do this 1,000 times. And you see how I go from, it's cool, bro, to this. Yeah? If I don't feel comfortable about grabbing this, I do it without. But I go here. And then now I take it. And go the other way. Last time. Don't grip this first. Just go for something else. And bottom person has to simulate the right reaction, which is, oh shit, a stomp. And then you go that way, right? Let's try it out. Let's just look at it one more time and see if you missed any details, right? This is something that I like to do a lot of repetitions on because it's like an explosive takedown. You have to practice everything at once, right? It's not like grab here, rip here, go this way, right? It's everything at once. So look, first relax. Right? Don't let him go hard, yeah? If he starts to move in and just attack, right, then he's not hypnotized yet. Right? Then I need to hypnotize him more with my surfing. Yeah? So look, the step. 1. The more sound, the better. Now my right foot is going to push my left foot out. And I kick up high. Because if I don't kick, he might catch me with his right foot. Yeah. So I go 1. And pass. And I know this is difficult to simulate. Because you can't really simulate surprise. But this is the reaction I get almost every single time. You try to do it just slow, super slow. Right? That's the reaction from the bottom person. Almost every single time. Slow. And then like, shit, he's passing. I gotta block with my legs. And he gets. Right? And you know what happens if you don't get the pass? Nothing. You're still on top. Right? You just try again. It's like a no risk. So let's just try it again a few times. Start slow and go. Okay, so let's try a few more minutes. So I know we're not spending much time on the actual technique, but the real part I always want to explain is the conceptual stuff anyway. That was the important part. With some guys, you can surf and hypnotize for 10 minutes, and the moment you grab here, they'll still be like super aggressive and start to play guard, right? And then you just don't do a pass like this, right? And with some people, you'll be surprised you can stand here for like 30 seconds and nothing happens, right? And you just take your time to go, right? Important, don't start breathing heavier and heavier just before you execute your move. That's a very, very typical giveaway, right? Once you see something on your legs and you're like, then you're like, okay, this is my time to defend, right? So a few variations. Maybe I can't get to his collar, right? Or maybe I feel like his legs are really wide, you know? Maybe he's sitting like that, and it's just too long. Once you've been trying this pass a few times, you can kind of see the leg position. Sometimes like, okay, this is easy, and this is going to be too difficult, right? So there's a few variations. So maybe he's here, and I don't feel comfortable about the collar, or we're playing a little bit further distance, like this, right? And now I just look for one or two grips. I just need at least one of his sleeves, right? So I can go double sleeve or sleeve and collar, right? You pick whatever you want. Often I'll just kind of give him my hands, and this will give me his sleeves, right? It's kind of difficult for him to grab them without giving me distance to grab his arms, right? So if I can get this grip somehow, or this grip, I have my other option, right? Oh, I do like 6 or 7 of these, but I'll just show these 2. This is the funniest one. And I always pull this off at the camps, always. But you can only do it once. And once you've done it, you're like, nah, you're never gonna catch me with that shit again, right? So I'm on the outside, I hold it, and now, again, I go from 0 to 100. If I go from here and I start to do this and then try it, I can't do it, impossible, too late, right? And the motion I have to do really fast is like shaking a blanket. Right? So imagine you hold a big, heavy blanket, you shake it, right? Because this is another top. What is a top position in jiu-jitsu? A top position is just me controlling the space between his knees and chest, right? Top position, top position, top position, top position, that's all there is to it, right? Every escape is just him clearing that space to get out. The guard is me being on top but having no control of that space. So every single guard pass is just me finding a way in there, right? So, how do I get in there? It's closed, right? But what if I do that? Yeah, what's his reaction? When I pull, he pulls back, and he usually opens a little bit, yeah? So the more I can shake the blanket, I tense your neck a little bit, the more I can do this, the more he will counter-react. And you see that little opening? I just need to get in there, right? So there's 2 ways I get in there. The funny one and the boring one. And I go here, and again, stay far away. Don't start to walk in here, because now he's just gonna pick from here. But let's maybe give him that's it, I'm here. He thinks he has something, right? And I go, yeah? Don't just do this. It's not fun, right? Do like a real shaking the blanket, like this, yeah? Hard. And when I do this, and he pushes back, I ride it. See, he's pulling me back, and I just ride it. But I have to get on my toes, and thrust my hip forward, right? I have to do it. If I don't, commit 100% to throwing my genitals in his face, I'm not gonna pass. If I do this, right, he's gonna block with his knees. So you have to commit, okay? Super slow motion. Right, get on my toes and thrust. And the moment I land him out, I do something stupid just to make him think about this and not think about escaping. Yeah? I'm sorry, I'm an expert at this pass, so I know what I'm talking about. And now he pulls back and he kind of pulls me forward. And the key is that I roll onto my toes like this. When I roll, dig in front of my face. I land. And the moment he removes it, just don't make him think about escaping at that moment. Yeah? That's it. If you don't feel him pulling you to mount, then you're not doing it right. Yeah? If it feels like this, and you have to do it, then it doesn't work. You have to kind of feel this. Yeah? Because his reaction will almost always be, if I just stay where I am, like this, yeah? Like that. It's a really silly one, but I almost, every camp I pull it off at least once. And once you've done it once, they're like, nah, you're not gonna do that again. Big shake the blanket, get on my toes, and shoot the genitals forward, and then you end there. And like, sometimes there's a knee in the way, you're still on top, right? Sometimes I try, but there's like something like this. Yeah, but I'm still, working my pass and I'm still on top of tackle, right? It's about creating that situation where you're just one step ahead, and he tries to catch up. Okay, let's try a little bit. That's the last thing. Where this will fail for you is if you do a few things. One, if you do this too slow, right? Because the moment I start moving, he's going to resist. Yeah, there's no time to start doing like this and then pull. It's like standing up and doing like double leg and then shoot a double leg, right? He knows exactly something's going to happen. Yeah? So I need to go super slow, like this, maybe move around, super fast. Yeah? Move, and then go. Right? The other thing is, some of you look like you're riding a fucking horse. Like this. Yeah? Don't stay flat on your heels. Right? It's not a horse. It's a human being. See? I have to go. And he's gonna pull me back, and I just go on my toes. And thrust. Throw your genitals. Forward. I feel the pull and I go on my toes. That's it. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. You'd get kneed in the balls. If you have balls, not judging, right? So, okay, let's just try it one more minute, and then I promise to wrap it up. I'm a little bit late. Go. So, just to review, really quick. In order to pass the guard, don't get swept or submitted, right? Spend some time I mean 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of being on top in the guard and not get swept or submitted. Build that foundation, and with this you can kind of hypnotize your opponent, if you want to. It's not always my strategy, but I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to frustrate them, get in their head, and then suddenly it's the guard pass there. And sometimes I don't do it. I just go like, like a truck, but most of the people I know. And then to kind of get this surprise pass, I need to create a situation where he's relaxed, and then I need to go from 0 to 100. Right? And these are 2, and I do probably like 10 different ones. Right? There's a bunch of them. I will also do the same thing here. Shoot this foot through, or I'll step the other way and go that way. Or I bait him to take like a shin on shin. I do this a lot. Usually when he's like really tired and frustrated, and I'll step this way to pass. Or if I pass low, it's often like here, create a situation where there's nothing, and then I'll go. Boom. There's like a bunch of these, but they all have like the same formula. Serve the guard, practice it, see if you can do some tricks. You can or you cannot, doesn't really matter. frustrate the opponent, save your energy, and see if you can pull off the pass with as little energy as possible. It's good practice for just practice. Not always, don't always train just to win and win and win. You need to do like fundamental work on balance and defense and stuff like this. Sorry, I can keep talking. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. So try it. Now it's open, man. See if someone came in who didn't do the class, and see if you can make them relax and just pull it off super fast. Right? Okay, cool. Thanks for coming.